Now that we've got it changing the number of days in February when the year is evenly divisible by 4, let's work on these other two conditions. And let's talk about these conditions first and see what they look like. So what does it look like when a year is evenly divided by 100? It is not a leap year. So here we're going to be looking for we're going to change it when it's not evenly divisible by 100. So we can write this condition this way. We can say, and I'm just going to write the condition here. Notice that this isn't actual code, so I'll put it in a comment. So we can say this year, mod 100, where's my mod? There it is, mod 100. That's evenly divisible, but we can say when that is not equal to 0. And we can do it any type of 0. So when you do that mod, if there's a remainder that's any type of 0, we'll take it. And so if it's not equal to 0, so this is saying if it's not divisible by 100. So that's what we're saying here, is that it's not divisible by 100. And that's a condition for that. The other condition is that it's divisible by 400, right? Now notice when it's divisible by 400, it's also divisible by 100. So how do we write this condition? So when this year is divisible by 400, and so this is equal to, and we want to get the type and the value on that. So when it's not divisible by 100, we want to set it to 29. Or if it's divisible by 400, evenly divisible by 400, we want it set at 29. So these are the two conditions that ask about these last two parts. And how do we want to combine them? Because it can actually be this one or this one. So we can, and when you speak it in English, you hear what we need to do. We need to combine them using or. So inside here, we're going to put an if statement. First, we're going to check to see if it's evenly divisible by 4. And then if it's evenly divisible by 4, we're going to check these two additional conditions. If it's not evenly divisible by 4, no problem. Just skip the if statement entirely and go on. And that's what that outer condition will do. But if it passes the outer condition, there's two more things we need to try. And these two conditions, we're going to combine them with an or operator. And if either of them are true, right? If it's not divisible by 100 or if it's divisible by 400, then we want to change the days to 29. So these are the two additional conditions that we need to add. So we'll put those in a nested if statement, right? Now notice how the way we did this was with a nested if statement. There are lots of ways that you can structure it. When you're working with if statements, right, you can use an else condition. You can use multiple conditions. You can do an if statement followed by a different if statement followed by a different if statement. Lots of different ways to organize if statements. But this works in this case that we use a nested if. First test to see if it's divisible by 4. Then inside that, let's talk about our other two issues. And we simply combined both conditions that qualify for the day to be changed to 29 with an or statement. So if either one is true, the day count will be set to 29. Now with this organization, if it's not divisible by 4, we'll be done. We won't even test that inner condition. And that's using a nested if to ask all three questions that make a difference in whether a year is a leap year or not. When it's a leap year, we'll change that day count for February to 29. When it's not, we'll leave it at 28.